they didn't have a process for the meetings that they need in their business. And I believe you need to have 5 meetings to run your business.
You must put your ego to the side, and you must be tied to how is the CEO looking at the assets of the company, i.e. your time.
If we're gonna have a meeting and someone is not giving me what we're talking about, I can tell you the minute I sit down, I'm like, what is the agenda? And if they don't report to someone and they're not having a formal meeting, you're not in the game. That person's gonna leave, there's no structure, it's chaos. Many people in business are losing so slow,
They think they're winning.
they think they're winning. And in other words, if you're not tracking it, you don't know that you're just slightly losing. Welcome back to the Be Wealthy podcast, where we help real estate agents, investors, and entrepreneurs make more money and then show them what to do with it in a way that's actually helpful and not mumbo jumbo speak that's out there on the internet today. It's not mumbo jumbo, hey, do this, burr, roast, whatever. So if you're watching this episode or listening to it, do not miss last week's episode where we talked about Brandon Turner torching $15 million of investor money. Go back and watch that episode. And before you do that, though, leave us a review. Your review is the fuel that lights our fire. Please do me a favor. Stop what you're doing. Put the squat rack down for a minute. We're going to hit the delts here in a second. And leave us a review. Okay? Write a comment. We read every single one of them. And that's how we share this content and we help more people.
I love that you make the joke of put the squat rack down. I can't tell you how many of your private clients will text me like, listening to the podcast, crushing it this morning. And it's a picture of them in the gym listening to the podcast. It's very real.
And I'm talking to my people.
If you're in San Diego specifically.
If you're in San Diego and right now you're in the middle of squats, you know what I'm going to tell you? Go, first of all, do a couple things. Go buy a lottery ticket because you're going to win. I mean, that's the first thing you need to do when you get out of there. All right, so let's take it. I want to talk about, we had a group in here. We're here at Apple Mountain. We're on our first, we're living out here in Northeast Georgia. And we've been living here almost 3 weeks. We've had 2 events here, workshops, which have been awesome right behind us. We got set up in here, and we didn't put them in the pirate ship, which we could have. And that's coming to a close. I've got to extend my trip slightly. But we had a group in here, Katelyn, and we go around and we're asking their biggest challenge. So when someone comes to our one-day workshop, right, this is about them. It's not, normally I'm going to present when I speak, it's going to be 8 hours. It's a workshop. It's an all-day thing. I'm going to present, or our masterminds, I'm going to talk for 8 hours on a variety of topics.
Yep.
The workshops we're doing are different, where you bring in your problem. And I'm going to teach, and I'm going to go around the room. We're going to get your biggest challenge, your biggest opportunity. I'm going to teach a little bit, and then we're going to coach one-on-one right there.
So cool.
Your situation, we're going to go through it. And so some of this came out of there. The biggest problem I saw at our last workshop was people didn't have a leadership process. More specifically, Katelyn, they didn't have a process for the meetings that they need in their business. And I believe you need to have 5 meetings to run your business.
Okay.
These are throughout the year. Some of them happen frequently, some happen less frequently. We'll get to them. But you've got to have a process. And so as I asked one of the folks in there, so what's your meeting process? What's the leadership? What's the management structure that creates outcome in your business? Go ahead.
So I will say this, you are polarizing to most people when you talk about meeting structures, because you say you don't do large meetings. So like those big all hands on deck. You hate meetings.
I hate meetings. I mean,
let's start this episode that's all about 5 meetings with how do you feel about meetings?
Well, so first of all, when I started my career, people told me to have a lot of them. So I had meetings about everything. I had a sales meeting, and
bring everybody in,
and you bring everybody. You got to get them all in here, and you got to get everyone's opinion, and you really get. No, you don't. I find it completely exhausting, and I don't want to do it. And so I think there's a much better way to do it. Now, meetings need to be highly purposeful, highly intentional. A meeting without an agenda, I will tell you, I find disrespectful. I really do. If we're going to have a meeting and someone is not giving me what we're talking about, I can tell you the minute I sit down, I'm like, what is the agenda?
Well, you even want it in advance. Send me the agenda in advance such that I can review it and be best prepared to make the most of our time together. That's your script.
Or if I find the agenda stupid, I'm not going.
Well, we don't tell them that when we ask for the agenda. We say, so you can be best prepared. But eventually you look at it and say, nope, skip.
Like so the first idea I want everyone to get here, like when you're walking into a meeting, what goes through my head is the outcome that I need to create at the end of this meeting is what? I actually open the meeting when I'm meeting with someone like, Katelyn, thanks for coming down. I'm excited to meet with you today. I'd love for you to share what makes this great for you and what outcome you're looking to create the next hour. I would like to share with you what I'd like to get out of this. And if it's okay with you, I'd love to maybe kill the small talk for a little bit. And why don't we work on your thing first? And then I want to work on my thing. And then the time remaining, let's talk about your fantasy football team. I'm super jacked. But I really want to get to purpose, right? We got to have purpose in our meetings. So the first thing I think you need is it's a meeting with yourself every Sunday night.
So you say, hello, self. Are you here for the meeting?
I start by saying, what's up, self? No, Sunday night, I want to review. I want to do a little review. I want to look back at the week before. I want to what happened? What were my wins? What were my losses? A little reflection, okay? If you got a journal and you want to, I think this is a great way to do it. I'm looking for a little reflection and a little planning here.
Okay.
What were my wins last week? What were my losses? I also have my goals right there, so I know the big projects I'm working on. Did I move forward last week, the things at the pace that I wanted to move forward?
Yep.
And as I told you, the reason I'm extending my trip at Apple Mountain is I set big goals for myself while I was here, and I did not achieve in the last week some of the things I wanted to. And I want to stay another week to achieve the things I said. And it's just, it came out of my reflection. So I'm like, look, I know that I got a great thing. I had to move a golf tournament that I was going to play in, which is a bummer. Sorry, Brother Hagen. But it's all good, and he gets it, and we'll play in the next one, and we'll go crush, and we'll obviously win the next tournament. But it came out of a reflection. So then, Katelyn, I'm looking at the week ahead going, okay, what do I have on? I know that I missed some of my goals last week. I look at the calendar ahead, and I go, well, I don't have a lot of time on my calendar, but I'm immovable on my goals. And so I've got to look at my calendar, what things can I maybe move, get rid of, delegate, kick out. I've got to make changes because I'm going to live a purpose-driven life, and I'm going to make sure that I'm on track for what I wanted, not filling stuff that occupies time.
You asked me last night to join you in this process for this week. So you said, Katelyn, we have some joint things next week that we have on our schedule. I've reflected over, here were the things I wanted to accomplish. I want to make sure that my status updates are correct. Is there anything else that I'm missing for what I have coined as Brett's role right now, which is facilities?
And if you're going to tell you at the peak of your career, if you get to be the facilities person at a resort, it is a delight.
There's a real reason you're facilities, right? It's because those are some of the huge infrastructure pieces here. You have 19 septic tanks. I think you should definitely help to determine how we will manage the 19 septic tanks.
I'm a wastewater specialist, uncertified.
It was not disrespectful.
I am uncertified in the wastewater sewer, just like our non-official sponsor, Viore. I'm not certified in that, and they're not our official sponsor. Cool. What I'm saying, if they were, I'd love to talk about how great their clothing is. I'm wearing it all right now. They're not our sponsor, so I'm not going to talk about it anymore and say how great this hoodie is.
Perfect.
But you were talking.
You asked me to come and said, "Hey, let's sit down together. I want to review. Here were my big goals. Is there anything that I'm missing that you see that I have not accomplished while I'm here beyond these?" There were 4 things. And I said, actually, yep. And then we got to look at some post office box locations or some other things that we need to add into that. Great. So you recalibrated there, set the new goals for this upcoming week for yourself. Then you said, Katelyn, you have put 2 appointments on my calendar for 2 back-to-back breakfasts, Monday and Tuesday. And I do know time, like I want to spend time with these people because I love them. It's our head pro and it's our head greenskeeper over at the golf course. And we want to spend time with them, but you said, I'm not willing to go in there without a very clear agenda of what I want to accomplish in the conversations with them. Their time is so crazy valuable. I want to be sure that I supply them the agenda in advance. They know what we're going to cover, and that when you and I leave that breakfast, we've made the absolute best of that hour or hour and a half to move the businesses forward and to help both of them in what they need to accomplish. And so we sat there and just said, cool, here's what it looks like. Here are the things that we want to talk about. So the Sunday night review is absolutely, it is something you're so habitual about.
It's the way to do it. I mean, even yesterday, you think about this. So we had our folks in terms of preparing for a meeting and how you and I do things a little different. We had our group from Arizona, the resort we own in Northern Arizona. They were out here at Apple Mountain. We did a training for our entire team. They all came in. And we taught the principles that we teach, 3 of our models, that we run in our companies. And we had every one of our team members out here went through a full day of training with us. Same way we run our mastermind, we're training our people using the same tools. It's one system. We actually teach what works. And before, though, what was interesting, so we actually went on a little hike because who knew that there are 20 waterfalls within an hour drive of Apple Mountain. It's insane.
And we're not talking little waterfalls.
If I show you a picture of Kauai.
TLC, chasing waterfalls, absolutely fantastic.
I'm going to put this out there, Cole, and I don't know how we would do this. I've got 2 pictures. We'll do Kauai or Northeast Georgia. We're going to do a side-by-side. I'm going to give this a Cole. We're going to do side-by-side. I'm going to say, is this Kauai or Northeast Georgia? And I don't think any of our viewers will get it right. Because you literally would think you're in Kauai. And so as we were doing this, though, we were walking down there with our GM of our Northern Arizona, and I even have torrential rain. Cole, you don't know this. We were out there, And I say when it starts raining, I had a rain jacket, but 4 minutes before, it was sunny. We got down to the Tallulah Gorge, and I'm talking torrential. Cole, it was at the point where my underwear, okay, on the inside of my pants, I wasn't just wearing my underwear on the outside. On the inside, my underwear started dripping into my shoe.
Well, technically halfway up the hike, you said to me, I said, oh my gosh, it's raining pretty hard here. And you turned to me and you said, Katelyn, I'm okay. My underwear is not wet. And then we got to the end of the hike, and then you're telling me that it's dripping into your shoe. I just wanted to
keep you updated on where I was at on the water.
For the culture of our group as we were going on the hike. Super helpful.
We were supposed to go to dinner after that to have a meeting with this group we were on the hike with, and we had to come back and change because the reason we just talked about. But at that meeting, we actually pulled up an agenda while we were, and I think our server thought we were crazy, but we were going through.
She was right. We are
20
crazy.
items to lower our direct operating expenses at the other resort. Mm-hmm. But that meeting, while a fun dinner, and we did a hike, and we still have fun in business, the point of the dinner ended up being, let's create some great outcomes together. And
it was so fun.
You have 4 smart people working off an agenda to make it happen. So you've got to start having better purposeful meetings. So
Sunday night, you're doing 2 things. Number 1, you're looking back. What did we accomplish last week? What is our reflection? What could we have done better, different, to optimize not only the performance of the business, but to use time in a better way, right?
That's right.
And then now we're going to look forward, right? We're going to look through the windshield. What does next week look like? Are there any appointments on here or meetings that don't have a direct outcome that we're driving? If they don't, that may be okay. Time equals love sometimes. But could we reshape these meetings or potentially move or cancel them to optimize our time to drive towards specific outcomes? The next thing that you do is you look at it and you say, what are the compounding activities this week I'm going to work at in the business? This is what you challenged me with just 6 months ago, and it changed the trajectory of my productivity. We even talked about it last night. You were like, it's at a whole different level today. Well, it's because you asked me then every single week to put the time blocks in my calendar to solve problems in the business that compound. Problems meaning it could be an opportunity for additional income. It could be a marketing plan you're putting together. It's something that's not a hand-to-mouth problem. It's something that once solved, once implemented, will have exponential results either for the positive, meaning it increases income, or it reduces what I call with a lot of my coaching clients, the friction or stress in the organization. So you should have compounding time blocks inside of your calendar in order to achieve those. Those should be 90-minute blocks, working on something that will either repeatedly increase revenue or repeatedly reduce friction or stress in the organization. So once you've established that and looked at your time blocks for the week, that's when that Sunday night ritual's set. Fair?
Completely. And so, Katelyn, also just to add on to this point on the Sunday night review, this assumes also that you're working off a calendar.
Oh, meaning, hold on, I have to be very clear. My sister, I couldn't love you more. However, you do not mean the calendar that is in my sister's kitchen, that is the paper calendar that has cats and all kinds of stuff on it where all her kids' stuff's written on.
Listen,
that is not the calendar we're talking about.
I love myself some Rod Tanner, okay? And he says he has never had a calendar.
Her business calendar is great, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about no paper calendars. Business, to be clear, she's going to roast me for this. Her business calendar, she runs a huge practice.
I just believe there's one type.
Successful.
It's all of it.
But her kitchen calendar, you cannot have
my
that.
dad does it off just a written, and the human brain can remember 5 dates and just pick 5 that really matter. And that's a different time and a different place. I would talk about a digital calendar that encompasses your life.
Okay. Personally and professionally.
I don't see. We had this at the workshop. I don't view that I view that I have one life, and in that life, I do business and I do personal things, and it's all one thing. The other day this is a workshop. We were here. My family. I happened to be waterfalling the day before. They were here.
Don't go chasing waterfalls.
Katelyn does that every time we see a waterfall. I get to hear that incredible tune. My family was here. My family was here though. They got to experience part of our thing, and it was like, is that personal because my family was in the room at the workshop? It's like I just don't look at that.
Maybe it was just personal over to the right, but the rest of the room was business.
But you just have life, right? So there's no business or personal. You need to have everything in a calendar. The next thing about your calendar is you have to live it. Like what I mean by that is when I wake up in the morning, that's what people always like, well, like what do you have going on? I go, a whole variety of things. And I wake up and I live my calendar. I don't wake up because I've looked at Sunday, I know it's coming. Now, I don't memorize it all because I just know that I've already agreed that the things are on there.
It is hard to remember all those meetings.
I don't know, in a given week between the things that I'm responsible for, there might be, some days might have 7 or 8 meetings. And then you go take that times 5 days, so you got 40 meetings. I'm not going to remember all, but I can look at them and see this makes sense. You've got to live it. I think a lot of people, I see people's calendars, and they're like, I'm going to wake up at 5, and then I'm going to journal from 5 to 5:15, and then I red light therapy. Morning. But that's in their calendar. I'm like, okay, I don't know that your morning routine needs to be in your calendar, but because it's kind of just something you just do. But like your thing, one of the guys, I said, do you have a calendar? He goes, yeah. I go, well, let me ask you a different question. What percentage of the items do you do? Oof. And he goes, 60%. I go, well, then you're not in the game. The purpose of it is you do it all.
So on Sunday night, you're looking at it, and now you're going to review what meetings do I have. You're going to recommend 4 meetings with others. Sunday night, it's a meeting with myself. Hello, self. Let's look at the calendar.
Yeah.
Right? So on Sunday night, you're looking at it, and now you're recommending these 4 types of meetings, which may or may not happen on a weekly basis. We're going to go through that. Some of them are annual and some of them are monthly.
That's right.
And then you're also going to be looking at the time blocks upon which you're growing the business, whether that's the compounding activity of revenue growth or the compounding activity of reduction of stress or friction in the organization.
Well, because I live a calendar and because I have goals, I look at where am I going to put the time in there to go work on the thing that gets me my goals.
Yeah, that 90-minute block.
I got to go, well, I need 2 90-minute blocks to work on this project. Well, I've got to go put them in there because, again, I'm going to wake up and live that day.
Right.
I'm not going to go, and I think most people I'll just get to it when I get to it. Well, first of all, that never happens. Your time your tasks expand to the time allotted. And so I'll have all of our listeners, have you ever gone on vacation? It was 2 days out. You had 9,000 things to get done. And somehow...
I'm the most important person.
The
most important. Guys, you can capture that and just use it against me till the end of time.
Katelyn, I want you to know right now.
I am the star of my own show.
You are the most important. No,
I'm the most productive person. I'm the most productive person.
Right before you go on vacation.
Right before I go on vacation. That's going to come back to bite me so bad.
What Katelyn meant to say is that...
this is terrible. This is going to bite me so badly.
But we're all the most productive right before... God, if she'd had a drink in her mouth right then, that would have been her third speech.
Brett, I am the most important person.
But you've got to go, and you have to have time in there to accomplish your task. Okay. So the first meetings I look at. So I do all my one-on-ones on Monday. And so I believe you need a one-on-one with your direct reports, especially in the early days, right? Once people have been with you 5-10 years, you could decrease the frequency of this structure. But let's just assume in the beginning that your leadership and management, you're new to it. So every direct report, first of all, everyone in your company reports to someone. Mm-hmm. And if they don't report to someone and they're not having a formal meeting, you're not in the game. That person's going to leave. There's no structure. It's chaos. So I want to do on Monday for the same reasons, because I also want to talk to the person about the results from last week. I want to talk about the results that we expect we're going to go get this week. And then I want to go through things. So I want to walk through what that meeting, I call it a one-on-one.
Okay.
Katelyn, I believe there's 2 types. I've got an operations one and a sales one. And so I'll start with the operations one. The format's the same in the beginning. And then the content we're going to go over is going to be different.
Okay.
So from an operations standpoint, let's just pretend that it was you and it was an ops meeting and you would come into my office, and it's the same way I coach, which is, Katelyn, tell me the great stuff. What are your victories in business since we last spoke, which was last week? And you're going to tell me the great things that are working. Hey, from an operational perspective, this system's done, this project's completed, I've moved this forward, right? It's kind of an update on the things that you've accomplished.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's awesome. Now, my job in that, I'm trying to see, how do we go do more of the things that are working? Mm-hmm. So what are the victories? How do I help you do more of it? Next question, I'm going to say, Katelyn, what's the biggest challenge in the business? Now, this is a form that you would have sent to me in advance. You would have already typed all this, but I would say, Katelyn, what's the biggest challenge? Now, you're going to read to me what you wrote. Mm-hmm. Again, I have not prepped this meeting. Katelyn has. And so she's going to say, well, my challenge is this. Now, my job when I hear the challenge is to remove it from you. I'm going to either remove the roadblock. I'm going to give you a different way to think about it. Again, I always use the example. It's really hard to see the label. I don't know if that's a good label on it, but it's really hard to see the label when you're inside the bottle. And so I'm able, because I'm not doing the work itself, you are. When you have a challenge, I might be able to see it differently just from my vantage point.
Sure.
And just in the same thing a coach does for me, right? They're like, well, why haven't you just tried this? It's like, well,
Because I didn't see that.
Because I didn't see that. I was so locked into the one way it had to work. So you're going to go through that. Then we're going to have what's called the hot topic. So Katelyn, that'll be all the things that you wanted to ask me throughout the week. Hey, got a minute, Brett? Can we meet for a minute? I have a question for a minute. If it's non-urgent, but still important, I would ask you to put it on there, and we're going to go over it once a week because I want to be more efficient. I don't want to have 75 meetings a week. I want to have one. The size of this ops meeting is, and the length of it is the size of your business.
Okay.
So when you and I were doing this, Katelyn, early on when you were reporting, we work together now, but it's a different way we work. But when it was really like this reporting structure, you and I got to a point where it was over an hour. Mm-hmm. An hour every week, and it took that long to run through the different business units. So as you took on more responsibility and
it increased in time.
It's just more time to run through the numbers. And so, you're going to go hot topic. Then out of that, we're assigning 4 action items, 4 things that you're going to complete in the next week. And I'm going to assign those. And I'm going to type, that's my part. I'm typing that up. At the end of that one-on-one, Katelyn is leaving with 4 things that she's agreed. And it could be 6, but it's around 4 things that she's agreed with total clarity to accomplish by the next week when we meet.
So let me step in for a second. So from Brett's vantage point, that's the structure, that's the model. So now I'd love to share it from the operations standpoint.
Yeah. Now you share how you prepare.
How I look at it. So first, I look at it, I have the luxury of coaching a lot of operations team members and the entrepreneur and business owner coaches with you. And so I get to hear from their vantage point of how they're able to optimize this meeting as well. So this is more than just my thoughts and ideas. These are all of the other chief operations officers and director of operations that I speak with. So first is most of the time when this is first starting, they find that the CEO tends to shy away from this meeting. They say, you know what, let's catch up this afternoon. Or things got crazy. It's the number one meeting pulled against my coaching clients that gets moved on their CEO's calendar. It's the number one meeting. They would rather save pickleball with Larry than do this meeting. And so I thought back, what are the reasons why a CEO doesn't do this meeting? So what are the death traps of why they say abort, I would rather not do it. Number one is that they believe they have to do the preparation for the meeting. And if you're the CEO, your ops person, a highly performing ops person, has a huge world and a huge organization. And you may be looking at it going, I don't even know what she's doing over there. So you don't want to do the prep. That's the number one reason that they don't want to do it. Number two is you talk all the time. When you and I were having this same style of meeting back then, we would talk 4 or 5 times a day on different hot topics that are happening in the business. You'd call me in between 2 coaching clients. Katelyn, can you get with Streamline Business Solutions about this thing with our financials? Cool, bye. So now all of a sudden you have these repeated conversations. To sit down in this formal way in the office almost seems weird. And so you have to go, it should feel different. It absolutely should, because it's what the ops person needs most. And I'm going to get to that in just a second. The third reason that people tend to move it is that they feel as though the conversation could turn into I'll just say the word, a bitch fest. Fair? So they feel like it could turn into, there's 46 things wrong over here. The salespeople constantly tell me the printer's not working. You're putting pressure on me to accomplish.
A lot of personal stories come in here. A lot of personal, well, you don't understand. I mean,
yes.
From
but also they're
CEO,
animals.
The CEO doesn't want to come in there because he's like, I'm just going to hear a bunch of excuses, stories,
things about
negativity about their personal life, the business. Sarah did this, Pete did this,
and all these things happened, and the CEO is going to try to put pressure on the operations person to help grow the business, right? Your whole goal when we would meet was, Katelyn, if I 2x the productivity in this business and I 2x the actual revenue going through it, where's it going to break? And we need to go fix that now. I don't always want to talk about that because I got 4,000 fires behind me. So how do you put the structure in this meeting that I don't bring my 4,000 fires in, and I'm able to clear my mind and use this meeting to my benefit? So here's the big pivot that happened with most of my coaching clients. Number one, and we have some awesome clients that are out of Wichita. I had a call with him and I had a call with her. She's the ops person, he's the CEO. Both of them, to make sure, are we on the same page of what this meeting is? She told me on my last coaching call that he literally put our word in the front of it, immovable, meeting with, her. right? Immovable, one-on-one with her every single Monday. It's immovable. It has to happen. So that's number one. Both of you have to agree. Ride or die.
First time the CEO moves it, you just told him it's not important.
Correct. Ride or die. That meeting has to happen. Number two, the meeting has to be the resource. It has to be viewed as the resource for the operations team member. It is not a top-down meeting where I'm going in and I'm waiting for Brett to tell me all the things that are going to happen. I view this meeting and my clients view this meeting as they're going in as this is the hour or this is the 30 minutes where I can come with true, logical, educated, fact-based information to help my CEO remove my roadblocks so I can crush the dang week. And if you go in with that mindset, so now you've filled out the action plan that Brett just talked about, those 4 action items that were from the previous week. You go in and you put all your information in there, the links to the spreadsheets, the solution to the problems that you're seeing. Fill out that victory with what really worked. What could we double down on? Start thinking the way that your CEO is trying to get you to think. And come in loaded for bear, such that you're driving the meeting, in essence, to get what you need to move the business forward. So I'm crystal clear in that meeting. Brett, I have 4 things that I need to go over that I need you to help remove roadblocks for.
And those would be in your hot topics though, right?
Correct.
You would be organized because you're organizing this.
Yes.
Right, so victory, challenge, hot topic. We're going to hit your items.
Yeah, 100%. So you've got victory, challenge, hot topics. You have the 4 action items, and then you should, go ahead.
Well, and the next part I like to go to is I'm a big priority guy. So I want your projects organized in order of 1 to 10. Most important that you, based on what you believe my current priorities are.
For the organization, correct.
So based on what I've told you and based on what we've said, and I'm going to tell you for all of our viewers and listeners, this is the part, alignment. I think I'm crystal clear as a CEO. What I find is that I'm not as clear as I think I am. And so I say, Katelyn, I want to see your top 10. I've also have the top 10 that I believe they are. And you and I are in very good sync, but sometimes it'll be you've got number 4 as number 2. I'm like, hey, this one's just a little more priority for me. Something happened this week that you weren't aware of. So it doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just you and I can't spend every waking hour together in business, so you knew everything that's going on, and I can't do that with you either. So this is our time to get realigned. So Katelyn, these priorities for me, and by the way, we got number 11 that wasn't even on your list, is now number 2.
Yep.
Because I had something
happen. But
number
7's dumb.
And number 7,
I don't even know what I was thinking about number 7.
Number 7's stupid.
Which, spoiler alert, that will happen, and that's okay.
But that meeting, Katelyn, is our time to get realigned. We're talking about what happened last week. We're going through the alignment items.
Yep.
Then we're going to go to the projects. I want to go whatever project management software, right? You're doing it either, depending on the project, it's largely going to be in Asana or some spreadsheet at this point. And we're going to go through that though. Where are you at? What's the next step? When's that going to be done by? And so I'm looking through all of that.
Every project or every priority has to have 3 things when you leave the meeting, right? It's the ROD is what I'll call it. Number 1, you have to have, what resources do I have in order to work on this project? What are my resources? What do I need? It always is funny to me. I'll think I have certain resources or I need something different, and I'll share it with you, and you give me a different way to think about it, right? Oh, Katelyn, did you realize you could use AI for this? Or there's a technology component that could help you. Or Katelyn, just hire someone on Fiverr. This is not a problem. So number 1, what resources do you have for that priority? Number 2, what is the outcome upon which you want to achieve?
With total clarity.
Total clarity that we both can say back and forth to each other. Sometimes Brett says this and he says it in a fun voice, so it makes it more fun, but he'll say, I get what I just said. Will you say back to me specifically what we're trying to accomplish? Only because he wants to be sure, did I hear it in the exact way that he intended it? Not because I'm deaf or hard of hearing, but because sometimes you're thinking about something else and it noodles around different. We've got to be crystal clear. What resources do I have or need? What is the outcome that must occur? And then the D in ROD is what is the deadline upon which it has to happen? And if you leave that meeting though, and you say, I've got my 4 priorities for the week, and you don't have those 3 subset clarities, the meeting is a failure.
And to me, the deadline, I also want to be clear, is time and date.
Correct.
It is not Thursday. No, because
I'm crystal clear on your thing.
I'm very clear. If it's 10 o'clock on Thursday, I need it. Because I've went into my calendar and planned around getting the information I needed by the timeline that we agreed upon. And that's why I see things that are very loose, right? Why this goes wrong is we have no clarity on the project.
Do you find it charming when I ask you the specific time zone?
Yeah.
So like, are you talking my time zone, your time zone? Are we Philippines
And my answer is always,
zone?
it's whatever time zone I'm in is the answer of the deadline.
And so look it up in my calendar. Where am I?
Look it up. You'll see where I am. But so that meeting, Katelyn, if we do it that way, and if you're leaving this, and if you just started those meetings, and your direct report prepares in the way you describe for them, and you're going, this is your operations person, victory challenge, hot topic, review the top 10 priorities, just come up with 4 things to do by the next week, and you do this every single week. Now, the reason why this is so valuable, as the CEO, you now have more visibility and more access to information to align priorities and make sure your people are doing the things that you believe. That's the CEO's job is to organize the labor, right? I got vision, you got resources, right? Your job, you got labor as a resource, you got capital as a resource, right? You got technology as a resource. Your job is to take your resources and allocate them best to accomplish your goals. That's the CEO's job. So I have a direct report, which is, it's a resource. I want to make sure that we've got you working on the right things in the right way in the right time, because it also, that's how you're going to accomplish your goals.
You know, it's funny, Brett. I say this on my one-on-one calls. I say, sometimes they will say, he's not clear, she's not clear on her priorities. And I think this is the most important thing. And they seem to have forgotten about it completely, but I'm 90% done with it. So I want to wrap it up before I jump into something else. This is the friction point that starts, right?
Yeah.
They don't get it. I'm working on these pieces because this meeting's been moved, or priorities are cloudy, or they don't have those 3 subset variables of clarity for the ROD on each project or task, right?
That's right.
And I have to say this to the operations team member. Do you trust when your CEO makes an investment in a property that they allocate the financial resources of the organization to optimize the rate of return? And they're like, oh my gosh, he is like a wizard. It's absolutely incredible. His ability to underwrite assets, it's so awesome. He really understands how it works. It's so great. I would invest money alongside him. Like, these are the questions I asked. Would you invest money alongside him? Like, if you could get in on that flip and you had an extra $100,000, would you invest it with them? Oh my gosh, yes, I wouldn't work here if it was otherwise. Like, I totally believe in that mission. And then I say, great. The other resource of the company is you. You are an asset of the company. You must put your ego to the side, and you must be tied to how is the CEO looking at the assets of the company, i.e. your time. It is the asset of the company, and it is the CEO's direction to determine where upon which you spend your time and how you allocate your time. And so if they flip that script to go, I'm an asset, where do you want to point me? He may see things, or she may see things on the field you don't. And so rather than pushing back, don't push back for pushing back's sake. Push back to get, what resources do I have? What specific outcome do you want to do? When do you want to buy? And if you're me, what time zone?
Yeah. So that's the ops. That's how you do it.
Cool.
Let's go to sales. Same process is the same. So
totally
victory,
same.
challenge, hot topic. And then the difference is I'm not going to go to the projects they're working on, the top 10 alignment. What I'm going to do is I ask this question. And so the point of a sales one-on-one is to help them find a deal. Okay, when you're coaching a salesperson, there's only one purpose of meeting with them one-on-one. Let's find a deal. I want to help them make money. So I go, what's your victory? Hey, if you're a real estate agent, hey, I did an open house. I did 2 open houses last week, and I actually got 3 pre-quals. I would go, whoa, how many people came to the open house? Which one did you do? Well, it had more traffic than ever. We had 20 people come in. And you got a buyer out of that? Or you got 2? That's awesome. Can I ask you a question? Have you thought about doing another one there? Maybe those signs in the traffic of the street, or whatever. What if you did 5 of them? So you're just, how do you expand that idea? So I'm going to ask them, I'm going to work through how do they do more of what they're doing. Same victory challenge, hot topic. Now with a salesperson, what I want to do then, ask the question, if your family were abducted by aliens, and I literally ask the question the same way every week, and the only way we get them back the next week is we got to put a buyer in escrow, or we got to take a listing. Whatever the metric is in your business that drives it. I got to get 3 pre-quals out. I've got at least 4 apartments.
Whatever their KPI is.
Whatever would be a great KPI. And so I'm asking, what's the deal? Which one? Let's pull up your top 10. So I'm going to the CRM, and I'm going to say, so this is the deal. They pull it up, the first one. I'm like, okay, so this is Tom Johnson, and you have not talked to this person in 30 days. And are you sure?
And we
you're
don't
certain,
like our wife and
so
kids.
We
don't
cool.
need them back.
The family's up partying with the aliens, and we're going to let them
They're going to be groovy.
They're going to have 2, we for sure know they're sitting out there 2 weeks now. So then we go to the next one. And then you're like, okay, we got to deal. It's very close. Okay, well, what do you think your next step is? Well, they were this, or there's some story. What would it look like if you called them right now and said this?
Okay.
Could you do that, Katelyn? Could you go make that call at the end of this meeting? And then by the end of the day, just shoot me a text and let me know what the outcome of that. I'd like to. So I'm finding the deal, giving you the resource, giving you a path forward, and helping you find the priorities in your pipeline.
Are you looking at the standards of the pipeline? Like we have, and Cole, will you upload again that Laws of the Pipeline link so that they have it? Like, Brett, you established.
Oh, yeah. If you go to bewealthypodcast.com,
the resources will be available for you. Yeah. So the laws of the pipeline, you have, we have stages of hot nurture watch. We have standards that everyone has to have a follow-up task associated with the urgency of the stage that they're at in, whether it's hot nurture or watch. You have to have the notes, no outstanding tasks that are past due. So you have those standards. Are you going over those at this meeting as well? Or is your first priority, I'm going to find them the deal, and then let's go through that?
So there you go. So I picked that for, they're picking the top 10, right?
They're picking their top 10.
They picked the first one. So I look at the first deal and I go, look, right, okay, so obviously these ones are going to be hot in our standards. If it's a real estate team, this is going to be a customer that's going to transact in the next 90 days. So our standard, if someone's going to list their home or buy a home with us, would be that we have to talk to them voice to voice over the phone, put all those notes in the CRM every single week.
Okay.
So when they say this is your number one person that's going to get your family back because we're going to put them in escrow and we're going to have a listing taken or it's an escrow, the buyer, I'm going to look at the communication. So in that example, if they haven't talked in 30 days, number one, they violated our standards of our laws of the pipeline. So why are we not communicating with this person? So then I'm going to go through their 10 and make sure that they're following the standards.
Okay.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull random leads at random.
Ooh, I hate when you do
It's my favorite thing to do.
Because
everyone shows you the 10. Usually the 10, after they do this about 3 or 4 weeks, the 10 are going to be dialed in. Right? They're on it. They're doing the... But then you're like, let's go
I've been a part of this. It's so uncomfortable.
Scroll down, that one. And so then I would just want to see, are we following the system? And no one's CRM is perfect.
No, of course
Never.
not.
It's an impossible goal. But it should be 80 to 90% accurate, and you're doing a thing, right? We all get behind on the CRM.
And then you celebrate that too. Hey, this looks pretty good. You got a few things to tweak on here. I love it.
We're always looking for better in the CRM, but it gives you that opportunity. You're there to find a deal. You're there to check on the laws of the pipeline. So this meeting is designed to be 30 minutes. So the better the salesperson gets at knowing the priority, showing you the deal. By the way, when they start doing these things, they're already getting the result. So when they're coming into the meeting, they're preparing. It's getting shorter, meaning the first time you do it, you're like, how do you ever get this done in 30 minutes? About 60 days in, you only need about 15 minutes for this meeting. Mm-hmm. You still keep it at 30. The next 15 minutes is how do you improve their life. Ooh, so in the beginning, they're like, hey, I got some questions about this. I'm thinking about doing this. Like, look, forget all that. We're not there yet. Your first mission here is we got to fix your business and you're making money. Once we've got your business and you're making money and you're making the right amount of money based on your goals, Katelyn, the time that's left over in this meeting is your time. How could I help? How can I add value to your life?
Now that your family is coming back from the alien abduction, how should we help you and your family?
We got the family. Are you guys looking to buy another rental? Or what's your next step on your on your wealth plan? Let's look at your balance sheet. How are you paying down debt? How are you thinking about these things? And then I want to go in there and help them accomplish their goals. And we've got a very specific way we do that. So that's the first meeting, the one-on-one. Every week, never changes, ops versus sales, your direct reports. Now, by the way, if you have a sales manager, your meeting with the sales manager, the way I would do that is I'm going to pull up 3 random agents at the sales manager because they're supposed to be doing this with them. Okay. I'm going to look at the pipelines, the active sales pipelines of the salespeople. And then I'm going to say, dude, what are you doing over here? Like, why are they not following the laws of the pipeline? Right. Pick the random ones there. The sales manager should be having the one-on-one, same format, what I do. So it goes through your entire organization. All right, the next meeting. This is, if you're solo, this is
direct reports every single Monday, all your direct reports.
All of them.
Immovable, has to happen, kickstarts the week.
They should be set up back to back to back to back to back. No breaks in between is the way I like to do it. So if I'm going to do a 3-hour session, I'm going to just grip and rip. And I expect someone to knock on my door. Closed door, I expect at 2:30, come on in. And I do the same thing. Come on in, take a seat. We're just wrapping up. And then I let the person know, yep, and we got that, and the action plan's in your inbox.
Zip, zip, zoom.
Go make it happen. I'll see you next week.
Okay, so that's a weekly one. Now you have, what's the next one that we look at?
We're going to look at financial review.
Okay.
And I believe this is done approximately the 20th of the month for the month prior. So, whatever, June 20th, we're going to review May's full financials. If you're solo, it's a meeting with yourself. If you've got a leadership team, it's you, your executive assistant, your leaders. I love printing it to paper, and so I want a couple different reports. I, number one, want a summary P&L, just the general items in our chart of accounts.
Sure.
And we'll talk about what we're gonna do with that in a minute. I want a full detail, which is the backup behind the numbers. So on your financials, Katelyn, you might have marketing. But behind the marketing and the detail is all the 39 charges that represent marketing from Zillow or Realtor or whatever you're doing, right? Whatever those expenses are. I'm going to want to see a balance sheet. I just want to make sure that that's in line, that I agree with the numbers for that time.
Or that I even understand what's on it. Sometimes I see a balance sheet and I say, what is that? And we get to discover it together because sometimes your accountant or your bookkeeper's putting things on your balance sheet.
I just journaled entry something on there 3.5 years ago, and it's just sitting there.
And it's just sitting there, and we can clean that up.
Yeah, and so then I want to look at different trends over time. I want to look at how am I performing this May versus a year ago's May, right? A year-over-year comparison is great, especially in any business that has seasonality. It's good to just see, hey, we're up 20% over a year.
Sure.
Then I want to have a year-to-date number, like how are we comparing the year-to-date? Like if we average where we're at in the year per month. Is this a little better, a little worse based on that? And so that financial review meeting, in my opinion, depending on the size of your business, this is a 30-minute meeting. It could be an hour. An hour would be a lot.
Yes.
Right? So like you would, in ours, it's an hour because we're reviewing like 30 P&Ls or something. Because once you do this, the exercise is quick.
Yeah.
Right? You're gonna go to the P&L, you're gonna run 3 numbers, right? What's my net profit margin? What's my expense ratio? What's my cost of goods sold? We'll film a whole podcast on that stuff later.
Perfect.
But you're looking at those numbers, and if those numbers were in line, they're better than they were a year ago, they're what we thought they would be because we have targets, cool. Then I'm just running through the detail going, because you make money by managing the expenses on the revenue you already have. People get lost on that.
Hand in hand, though. You do the detail, and so on one side of your desk, you have the detail, and the other side, right next to it, you have the trailing 12. And the trailing 12 shows you January, February, March, April, like all of the 12 months. And you literally are going line by line, not by summary, not just marketing. So it might be like marketing, and the subcategory of that's like direct mail, CR, or technology, like whatever that might be under there. You're looking at each of those lines and you go straight across with your finger, and you're looking for any crazy trend differences. Did income go exponentially up or exponentially down? Like, are there peaks and valleys? And then the same thing with expenses. If you find those, you go, take me to, and you open up, you say it out loud to all of us, and then you open it up on the actual P&L detail. Take me to marketing. Something's off. I need to see what it is. And then you say, help me understand why we have 4 MailChimp accounts. I don't get it. We had 2 last months, and now all of a sudden MailChimp's outrageous. Or, hey, our Google ad spend seems completely off compared to what it was. Did we reap that was a lead indicator. Did we, anyway, you get what I'm saying. So you utilize the trailing 12 trends going through that, and it's pretty quick. I mean, you've gotten to the point, it takes you a matter of moments to look through, and you can easily spot a peak or a valley, and then you go and do the research on the back end. So really, it doesn't take a ton of time. It's a matter of learning how to look at it in a way that allows you to see the issues immediately.
And here's why it matters so much, Katelyn. I had a private client, and he was new to me, and we're doing his financial review. So I'm like, how often do you do this? He's like, well, I'd never do it. I just do it at the end of the year when my CP files my tax return. I'm like, okay, well, that's not what we do it. Your P&L is a tool to...
The first time you're seeing, let's actually say this, though.
The first time you're seeing...
Well, hold on. The first time you're seeing January 2025's financials is when you're filing taxes in April of 2026.
Could be worse. Could be October.
Of 2026. So 18 months later, you're looking at a lag indicator.
Yeah, we had a tough January 18 months ago. Right.
What?
That's what most people do.
Hard to fix that problem.
Well, so, he started there. Then it was, hey, I lost money 2 months ago or a month ago. I'm like, oh, well, when did you realize that? He goes, today. Well, I go, I'm going to show you something that's like wild. We actually can predict what you're going to make in the next 30. In real estate, you can actually know exactly what you're going to make.
In most businesses, you can.
In most business, well, in the real estate business, because the sales cycle, right, most of your transactions are put in escrow. So your 30 days, you might add a cash transaction or get something, but largely 30, we know, if we're June 1, We know what we're going to make in June, and we kind of know what July's shaping up to look like.
Totally.
Like, so the point here is to, number one, not have 6 months go by and we've got a bunch of expenses that don't make any cognitive sense that are just torching money. Number two, should we make some decisions? Do we have things that are working we should double down on? Right? Whoa, this is performing better than I thought. I'm going to start watching that a little more. I might overinvest in that today. And so this financial review meeting, if your P&L is not a tool to make business decisions, you're doing it wrong. The P&L tells you, you go, oh, I have a new idea. Well, what does your financial statement say? But what do most people do, right? Well, I'm going to post it on some forum or some Facebook group and ask them what they do. Who the hell knows if that should be the good idea or not? They might be losing money in their business too. So you've got to actually know that you're making money so that you know how you can make more money, right? So because there's only 3 ways to make money, Katelyn. You sell more widgets, you sell more expensive widgets, you sell more widgets to the same person, right? There's not thousands of ways to do this, and our financial statement is very simple. There is no reason that every business owner should not master it. It's simple addition and subtraction. It should be taught in schools. It should be taught in the real estate school very specifically. I mean, it's not, and it's very easy to do. And so make sure you're understanding that meeting. And if you don't know, get with a bookkeeping company. Like, you know,
we love Streamline.
We love Streamline Business Solutions. And I love them for a couple reasons. Number one, they reconcile your bank account. So they're going to go in there, they're going to reconcile your bank account. Number two, if you wanted it, they'll have a call with you.
I was about to say, they're education so that you can learn how to do this.
Like, hey, when you open your P&L, what do you look at? And they're like,
David's
I don't even know.
team's unbelievable.
They're going to walk you through step by step what to do. Like,
and what you should look at.
This is what you should look at. So that's a meeting, okay? 30-minute hour, that's a meeting once a month.
So that meeting, though, on its own is good. That meeting, paired with the meeting you're just about to talk about, is the absolute gold in a business, because the financial review is going to be your lag indicator, right?
It's all the stuff that happens. It's facts.
It's already
the past.
happened. So if you wait to just have that financial review, right? Like let's say from the point a lead comes in, you get a new lead that comes in, and then you have to call the lead, follow up, show them homes, and then they get under contract and they close. Let's say that life cycle of a client at best is 90 days, okay? So lead comes in January 1. At best, that money is hitting your bank account in what month, Brett? If it's 90 days. They come in January 1. What day is that hitting?
Oh, I mean, if it's a 90-day cycle, oh, I mean, I'm getting the money January 1, I'm getting the money in middle of April. Yep. I'm reviewing that 20th of May.
Okay, so there you go. So hold on for just one sec. So you're reviewing that 20th of May. The challenge is on the 21st of May, you're going to make some changes that something went wrong in the business, right? So maybe our expenses were too high, or there was an issue with the lead flow, or we're looking at something so far in the past that the change we make on, April 21st, now we're making that change for the new set of the cycle. So now we have another 90 days before the change that we made actually impacts our business financials and our income. So now I'm in April, let's go. I'm like a kindergartner, right? May, June, July. We're not gonna see any of that again, the results of our choice, until August. So something could be broken in your business on January 1, and you actually can't do something to fix it. You won't see the results of that fix, I should say, until the middle of August, if the only thing you're looking at are your financials. Now, here's the crazy part, Brett. Half the people we've talked to in the last couple of weeks at our workshops haven't even been looking at the financials in that way. So first, you got to start there. Then don't stop there. That's the big key. Don't stop there. You now need to go into this other part of the meeting so that your cycle of changing your business, your ability to move quickly as an entrepreneur in a small business, that is one of our greatest assets, right? One of the greatest things about us is this ship, Brett's world, we can make a decision and change something right away. AT&T, it's got to go through months of boards of directors and all kinds of things, right? In your business, one of the greatest advantages of small business is the ability to pivot quickly. If all you're looking at are your financials, to make your decisions, you lose your ultimate advantage in the marketplace. So now this next meeting that Brett's going to go over is the ultimate advantage point for every single CEO that's out there. So I'll let you kick it off. Obviously, this is my one I'm most passionate about.
Well, we found a way. So how this came about is we built this KPI, this flash report that we came up with because we were running multiple businesses. And I thought each business, they're so different. We had a cryotherapy. We were going to be the franchisor back then. And so the data around a franchisor, from cryotherapy is going to be different data than a real estate team versus a mortgage business versus a roofing company.
Or even a title company.
A title company.
Right? You might think gosh, it's got to be crazy over there. That's a totally different business.
But then you realize all businesses are the same. We've got leads. We've got things that we do to leads in terms of effort. We call them, we text them, we get on an appointment, we show them value, whether that's Zoom or that's live. And then they have some point of a contract, and then we do more things, and that creates a sale. And these are all like markers that we can see. And so if we laid your business out on the leading indicators, so you talked about the lag indicator, which are P&L. These are facts.
The ultimate lag indicator is P&Ls.
Is what we want, but we can't go just get more dollars in our account tomorrow. There's a lot of things that we just discussed we got to do to get the dollars.
Correct.
And so the flash report, we're going to capture the leading indicators. We're going to get some lag indicators too, but we're going to get the leading indicators. So in most businesses that we run, we're going to look at how many leads came in last week. Gross leads, 100, 300, 5, whatever. Then I'm going to do what's the next step would be the next major milestone in most business would be some sort of an appointment set. We set 12 appointments this week. I love that. And then I'm going to know how many appointments did we hold? How many times did we get to sit down with a customer and show them our value? And then I want to know from there may be something like a pre-qual or there's something in between a contract, but it might just be a contract. And what we're looking at, Katelyn, is in between these things, from a lead to an appointment set, there's going to be a ratio. So I need 10 leads to set 4 appointments. I need 4 appointments set to have 2 held. I need to hold 2 appointments to have 1 closing. And if I knew that data, at that moment, I knew that the leads cost $1,000 in this example, so leads are $100 each, I know that my cost per closing, my cost to acquire a customer that turns into dollars is $1,000. Now, depending on the widget factory that I'm running, that might be awesome, and that might be terrible. But I know the math now. So then I would look at, okay, if my marketing expense is 10%, let's assume that but I get a $10,000 commission, it only cost me $1,000 to get it. Would I be willing to spend $10,000 to go get $100,000 in revenue? Does that make sense? Most real estate teams, Katelyn, function, if they're doing it right, off a 30% margin. Now, if you don't know your financials, it's kind of like Alice in Wonderland. Like, where are you going? Well, I don't know. Well, then go whatever road you want. It doesn't matter. Do anything. Buy this, do that, sell it, don't sell it. Doesn't matter. If you don't know where you're going, you don't know the numbers, it's just gambling anyway. Take it all to Vegas, throw it on black, little 8, 10, 11, 13, black outside. Why not? And that's what most business owners are doing. They're gambling with their future instead of creating a predictable outcome that's so logical and so easy to see. And so in that example, if I knew that I was investing $10,000 and that was built into my budget and made sense, and that equaled $30,000 in profit, well, would you be willing to spend $10,000 to net 30? Probably most people would.
Sure, but how would you know?
So now these ratios, let's say that you knew it was the ratios I just described. So 40% of leads book an appointment set. 50% of appointments set go to appointments held, and 50% of appointments held go to closing. Let's say I knew those ratios, week in, week out. And then 1 week, someone comes in, and we go to 60% appointment set, which is a 50% increase from the 40. And this has been months of this. I want to sit down with the sales, like, what are you doing? Wait a minute, what's going on? How are you doing this? Like, I added a different follow-up. I'm doing this. I'm shortening the time for appointment set. I was actually, instead of setting them a week out,
I'm setting them 2 days.
I'm setting tomorrow, and it turns out more people show. Okay, great. So you discover the ratios of what works.
Seems a lot better than the Alice in Wonderland Mad Hatter Tea Party approach.
And these are single digits to 2-digit numbers in a spreadsheet and so this is all done weekly, these numbers. And so when I talk about a flash report for a business, it's no more than 20 numbers. I'd like it to be less numbers, not more. It's 15 critical driving numbers that tell me the health of my company. And so when I have a meeting about this, and usually this meeting is going to be a part of the one-on-one if they're a division leader.
Sure.
And it could be if it relates to the division. If it relates to something I'm doing, it's just a meeting in my calendar where I've got to review those numbers. And it takes me sub 60 seconds to know where I need to spend my focus because I'm scanning my eyes across a page where I know what the averages are historically. So it's like, oh, we're supposed to have 10 and we had 10. We're supposed to have 5 and we have 5. But if you get over here and like, wait a minute, I'm supposed to have 8 of those widgets and I've got 2. Something broke in the machine. So then you just go to, well, where is that data housed? And then I can go fix the problem in my business because all businesses have little things that break. It could be a form that broke on your website, so the leads aren't coming in. Stuff happens. The key is catching it every single week and putting back on track. Every business gets off track. Everyone. The key is how long are you up? Most people are off track. To your example earlier, you're off track a year. Well, you just blew your year out. Your toes. If you can stay on track, like every business plan I've ever had, at some point in the year, I was off track for a week or 2.
Sure.
But then I was able to course correct and put it back on track, so I still hit the goal. You get off track for 6 months in a year, it's just kind of game over.
You have a great quote around goals. You don't miss your goals.
Because you didn't have a great plan.
You miss your goals because?
You had no check-in point along the journey. And you started running and there was no check-in point to go. Like, and I use the example in our seminars, and I've never ran a marathon, but I know a lot of the training, a lot of our friends do. They run these. And I always ask someone, so if you ran a marathon, they're like, yeah. I go, what if there was no mile markers? And I want you to imagine the road you're running on. It's just tree-lined. It all looks the same. And you're factually on mile 16, but you don't know that. You don't know your pace per mile. You don't know anything. I asked, this was the girl that was here earlier this week, and I said, would you know, if I ask you factually, where are you at? Would you know you're at mile 16? Would you know your pace per mile? Would you know anything? She goes, I would have no idea. I would definitely think I'm further than I am. Right? Because you're running like, I'm got to be almost at the end. Well, you're not. It's the same way with our financials, right? We're flying blind with no scorecard. How do I make changes? I can't even fix the business, Katelyn. It's worse than that. And if the data is wrong, so there's 2 issues here. Number one, I see people have incorrect data and then they make a decision. It's even worse than not having any, right? If you're not going to have any information, you're just gambling, do it. Don't put the wrong data in there, have someone else do it, and then make a decision based on it.
Let me ask you, I have 2 things I want to mention on this. Number one, at Be Wealthy, what is it? Be Wealthy Podcast Resources. Be Wealthy. I should be able to.
Katelyn, I would think the name's crazy. It's the name of the podcast. It's Be Wealthy, and then you say podcast with it, .com. You'd have to go Be Wealthy resource /5 meetings /awesome.
I don't know how fancy it is out there. So Be Wealthy.
One of the greatest technology
podcast.com is what they tell me. You can go there and you're going to see a sample of our flash report. And it's very simple. Across all business lines, it looks exactly the same. Simple spreadsheet where you have tabs for each of the months. And then you have a summary tab at the front. Each tab has what month it is, and then it's the weeks overlaid on each other, and they specifically are overlaid in the way that you're going to see it. And then it goes from lead to lag indicator across. Sometimes my clients will try to like reinvent it, and I'll have to explain the way you can read it is that you can actually see the trends week over week and month over month. That's really important. But people have come to us. I mean, we've been using these flash reports since the dawn of time, right? Like they have not changed. Since Bill Gates decided to drop Excel, that we've been running this.
Yeah, this is not a new thing for us.
Here's my question for you. Why have we not moved everything to a fancy levers and reds and greens, and here's how, we got speedometers and all these different things. Why have you have been so concerned, not concerned, but like adamant that we continue to use this same report showing the actual data in a static way, like you have in financials, where it doesn't change and you can see week over week, versus you can just see, are we revving up or are we revving down? Why did you keep this versus moving to some of the fancier dashboards?
Yeah, I see people that have really beautiful dashboards. I mean,
They're
it's like,
pretty.
Wow, this
like
is something, it is, this is impressive. I love the green bar and I love the red dial, and because it doesn't, I don't think flashy dashboards are what make businesses work.
Well, ours technically has the term flash in it.
It does have the word flash, but it's just an Excel. At the end of the day, I need to see the historical data.
That's exactly what
And it's really hard to see this in this little bar chart that shows me a real-time snapshot. So I'm not saying those things aren't cool, but I will say this, and I think there's the danger, Katelyn. I think a lot of people are using AI or they're using things to make what I call cat memes. Right? They're like, they get this data, they're like, Brad, this flash report's a really great idea, but look at what my AI did. It has clouds in it. And it's got lightning bolts, which apparently represents something that's really good in the business. I guess lightning's good.
Lightning strikes.
And I was like,
hopefully more than once.
But we're talking about 15 numbers in a spreadsheet where we need an average. The easiest way to display this information is in a crystal clear, it's in a spreadsheet. It's just the best way to do it. If there was a better way to do it that made it easier to make the decision, I'm not tied to it.
It also helps your team see it. So now your
things that are complicated. The spreadsheet doesn't break. It doesn't. The dashboards all do. And then the data feed and your Zapier and webhook and 19 other things, Cole. And it's just not that complicated. I just need to know how many appointments we set last week. Like, I don't need a dashboard that goes green, red, yellow, purple.
That's it.
Yeah. And so make it simple. Your business. So I did this selfishly to make it easier on me as a CEO to run the 34 different businesses we have. They all look the same. They feel the same. So as I'm going meeting after meeting on my review,
it's easy to see.
I can instantly.
So whether it's a title company, a real estate business, an investment business, or an apartment complex, you're looking at the data in the same format, so you can make the decisions across multiple business lines.
And the last level of this is the person. If you have someone doing this for you, that's creating this flash report, that's reviewing it with you. Once you do this enough times, they walk in already of fixing the data.
I highlight yellow issues.
Caitlin's like, hey, you're going to get to sell.
You're going to get to see 23 and ask any questions.
You're going to get to see 23 and you're going to hate it. And I've already fixed it. Let me tell you the 3 things I've done, and it's all handled. And I'm like, but then
perfect.
That meeting goes like this. What would you like to talk about? I'm all good. And now all I'm doing there is assessing, do I agree with your answer to the problem? Hey, we're off by 30%. And then you're going to tell me the 3 things you're going to do to fix it or whatever it is. And all I'm asking as a CEO, do I believe that what Katelyn just told me, based on my experience, will fix the problem? And sometimes I tell you, hey, great job, Laura, I love it. Sometimes like, hey, I don't see those 3 things getting us there. I think you're going to get halfway there. So,
I was just talking to Shay this week. She's now she sends her flash report to her CEO, and she actually says, here's the 3 things I think you need to see in the business and my suggested changes to fix them. And imagine that. You're the CEO, your ops team is putting it together for you. They sit down and show you that difference.
It is the leader, I could tell you as a CEO, when your people come with solutions, right? So for the ops people listening to this, all the CEO wants is someone else to have thought about the problem and bring them potential solutions. You give that to a CEO and go, hey, I've ran it all.
Here's a fire on your desk, and here's 4 different extinguishers you can choose.
Here's 4 options. I'm going to give you them all. I got pros and cons of each. I'm going to tell you that I like one. Here's why I like one. And instantly I can go, I love one. Let's do it.
So Brett, I was on with our ambassadors this week, and I was going over with them. One of the hot topics came up is a lot of them have huge real estate businesses, right? And they're running these flash reports for their real estate business, and they love them. And they're bragging about how great they are, and they're fantastic. And then I was going over some wins with them, and they were sharing with me some of the wins in their investment business. So now that they have a huge real estate team, but they're looking to go ahead and generate additional income inside of their investment business that they can then take and go create generational wealth, right? It's what we teach. So they also have done the math, because we're working on it with them together, where maybe they net, let's call it $400,000 or $500,000 in their real estate team. They're like, that thing's noisy, it's crazy, we have all this reporting to keep track of it, but I love it. I now have clarity around that. And then I ask a question like, awesome, what's going on with the lead and lag indicators? So we'll talk about what's happening in the marketing at for your investment business. How is that performing? How many appointments did you set? How many, and then how many contracts did you write? And I have, between the ambassadors and my private clients, some behemoths in business, right? They're running really large businesses, and they're great at it. But then for some reason, when it comes to this investment arm that they're launching, they've put a business plan together that they're going to do, call it 7 or 10 flips this year. And it's going to make more than this real estate business net, correct? They tell me they don't need reporting over here because, Katelyn, it's going to be a lot of 1s and 2s and 0s and 3s because there's not as much volume in that business, right? I put some direct mail out.
But it's making more money.
So why wouldn't you have even more intensity around it? And they say, because I can kind of keep track of it, right? It's 1s and 0s. And I say, kind of think of it like code, guys. Like it's just 1s and 0s. But think about this. You're going to sit in our next mastermind with Brett. And he's going to say, I love what you did this year. Congratulations, that's your best income year. We're going to go invest it. Now let's look, where did we make the money? You're going to tell him that you crushed it in your investment business. And I'm going to do, spoiler alert, at our mastermind in this October, when you tell him that, he's going to say, cool, how do we double it next year? And you're going to say, gulp, I don't know, because you don't know any of the lead and lag indicators for that business. So even when the numbers are zeros for the week, we should know that we sent out direct mail and no leads came in. We should know that we did Google Ads and no leads came in, or 2 came in, or you went on 1 appointment. Did it convert? Did it not? Did it convert the next week? So is our life cycle of appointment to contract written, do we know that's a 7-day period? We have to know it from the launch of the business. So no matter how small your business might be, or one of your business lines right now, you might be a single agent on here going, I got it. I'm running and gunning, no big deal. I kind of get what's happening and, here I am. If you're feeling that real estate roller coaster, or you have a small business line that you're launching, this reporting is more important than ever. So I would encourage you, if you're listening to it going, I'm good, I'm just running and gunning. Absolutely not. You have to start tracking it. You have to start tracking it immediately.
100%. So build your flash reports out, get those KPIs, and understand the ratios between the breakpoints all the way to contract. All right, last meeting, Katelyn. The last meeting, it's once per year.
Okay.
I like doing this. I kind of start this process around October.
Okay.
And it's the annual business planning that I do for myself. And so the one I do is I do a goal on the passive income that I'm going to create the next 12 months.
Okay.
So what do I have now? And so that is how much additional passive income I'm going to create. That's the one goal. So I want to create an extra $10,000 a month in passive income in 2027. So I would do that at the end of this year. I would create that. That's the one. What are the 3 ways I'm going to do it? So I use a tool called the 1-3-5. I took it from Gary Keller. And to me, it's the easiest way to clean up your thoughts. But what it does is all the items in here, spoiler alert, go into the flash report that we just covered. So any item, so the 1 goal, the 3 priorities, the 5 strategies for the goal, for each priority, each one of those must be able to be an item we can measure in the flash report. So once you're done with this, and we'll go in a little bit in a minute, once I've done the 1-3-5, Katelyn, and I've got the data that I want to track, I can actually throw away the whole business plan. I don't need it anymore. The purpose of the 1-3-5 was just to set up the tracking.
To get clarity of what to put on our flash report.
What am I going to measure? How will I know? Because I want $10,000 a month in passive income. But how do I know if I'm on or off track to getting it? I can't wait till the end of the year and go, did I get it or not? Well, no, you didn't do anything, so you didn't get any. So the 3 ways might be, I'm gonna buy 2 duplexes. I'm going to do 2 seller finance notes. I'm going to buy 3 natural gas royalties. Whatever the things and the widgets, the way you make the passive income is your choice. But I can measure then what are the leading indicators to get me to that. So that's for me, like on my wealth. Then as it relates to each company, each business leader in our world is going to create their goal, the number 1 being profit. So
profit
real estate
in
team,
that business line.
There is no other goal in business, right? I know it gets very confusing out there online, but the purpose of business is to make money. So on your real estate team, I want to make $1 million in next year. Cool. That's the one, $1 million.
And you can say, I want to make $1 million, which means I will serve 323 families. You can tie those together, but if you just say serve 323 families,
that doesn't do anything.
We've missed the point. Yeah.
100%. It's the $1 million, and that equals 330 houses sold. I love it. Then I would go to what are the 3 priorities? What are the 3 ways I'm going to do that? Well, of those 330 families, I think there's going to be 160 of them are buyers.
Sure.
Cool. 170 of them are going to be sellers, whatever that is. And then I'm going to have it like, okay, what are the people, process, system, tools, and things I need? Because I set a big goal. Like if I was making 500,000 the year before and I'm going to $1 million, sure. I made an additional person. I made a different process. I made a different system. So all of that is going to be put into this 1-3-5 format, which again, we'll put on bewealthypodcast.com. And you can get this format, very basic. Katelyn, it's not Be Wealthy Resources.
Be Wealthy, for those who were with me, bewealthypodcast.com.
There, you nailed it, Katelyn. You're back.
Thank you so much.
And so you go to this 1-3-5. Again, the point of it is just to establish what you're going to track. So Katelyn, we've covered a lot in the last, hour-ish here together. We talked about the 5 meetings you need to have. Sunday night reflection and review. You've got to go to your one-on-one meetings. You got to have the financial review. You got to have the weekly flash report, and you've got to have your annual business planning. If you're not doing these things, you're not really running a business. And the fear I have for folks, Katelyn, I see people that, I'll say this kind of aggressively, I think that they're losing so slow they think they're winning.
Say it again.
I think many people in business are losing so slow.
They think they're winning.
They think they're winning. And in other words, if you're not tracking it, you don't know that you're just slightly losing. And here's how the way you might be perceived to be winning and losing. If your marketplace is up 30% in transaction count and your business is up 10%, you're losing. The market's outperforming you. The lift you got was the market. You would want the market to be up 30 and you to be up 50, which means, Katelyn, the things that you're doing are better than the market. The market is your pace car, right? You see agents today or some real estate agents are making more money just because prices have gone up. So they're selling less homes but that's not long-term, not a great strategy, because then we've got to always have prices go up so we make more money. Instead, we want to build a great business around the economics. And then if we get the market lift too, it's just more money than we thought. But so we want to build our business around the numbers, the goals, and know that we're on or off track. All right, go to BeWealthy.com, get the tools. That's Katelyn Mitchell. I'm Brett Tanner. This is the Be Wealthy Podcast, and we'll see you back here next week.